Hey everyone, Mandy here from Healing Hopeful Survivor. How are you? I hope everyone is having a great day. So, I have, for this video, comprised a list of 10 things that I managed to come up with like in 30 seconds because it really was not hard. So as we all know, there's lots of stuff out there about Narcissistic Personality Disorder, narcissistic abuse, which I think is great, which I think is awesome. I'm glad that those resources are out there. However, one thing that I find that there is not a lot of on the internet, especially YouTube, is information related to codependency, people who are codependent. Now, we know that narcissists and codependents tend to attract each other, but there isn't a whole lot to talk about what it's actually like to be codependent, which is why I am making this video, because I myself was codependent. I say was because I managed to work through it. I had the therapy. I did, yeah. So I have my days working on it. So maybe the word I should use is recovering codependent. For the most part, I am aware now of my emotional triggers and what triggers and my thought pattern and yeah, all that fun stuff. So anyway, before I continue on, I need to make you aware of something. In the room with me here where I sit right now is my dog. Right now she is quiet. However, over these last day and a half, she's had some itchy and scratchy problems. And it's not because she has fleas. It is because, unfortunately, right now she has a skin condition that apparently is quite common with her type of breed. She is a Shiatsu Lhasa Apso. So her skin condition currently is being treated. Creams, oils, pills, great $500 vet bill. And hopefully in the next few days this ends. So you are probably at some point during the video, you might hear her get up and start looking at herself or scratching or what have you. I apologize for that. If it happens, just please ignore it and just let it blend in with the background noise. Okay, so I got that out of the way. Anyhow, let's get to this video before I start rambling, which I tend to do as soon as the camera comes on. So, I have made up this list, so you're going to see me obviously looking this way. The reason why that is because I have my list right here that I have made up. What I thought was important points to bring up. So, what I have here. I have for my title, what it was like to be codependent. Disclaimer here, I am speaking for myself. These are things that I had problems with. Some of them I still have problems with. But other codependents that I have talked to also have dealt with similar stuff. So I think it's pretty safe to say that these are signs of codependency. Let's begin. Number 1. Believing that I, myself, was not good enough. I, by myself, standing alone, was not good enough. So in order to be good enough, I was, you've heard the term, giving the shirt off your own back to help somebody else. That's... okay, I wouldn't literally give the shirt off my own back, but that's pretty much what it was I was doing. Giving up on my own happiness to ensure that somebody else was happy. Because I myself was not good enough. I had to do something good for somebody else. Give up something that made me happy to make another person happy because I myself was not good enough. That's how I based my worth, my own self-worth, was what I did for others. And that is a biggie when it comes to codependency. It's what can I do for you? What can I give you? What can I give you of my own soul? What part of my soul can you take today? Yeah, that's number one. Number two, which kind of falls into the number one, what I just talked about, was always trying to please others. Always trying to ensure that everybody else is happy, everybody else is comfortable, everybody else is fed, everybody else is happy. And if I'm not happy, oh well, everybody else is happy. And when you're codependent, that is all that matters. As long as everybody else is happy, if everybody else is happy, nobody's mad at you. Nobody's mad at me. So I must be doing something right. Because when you're codependent, you don't like anybody. For me, anyway, I couldn't stand somebody being mad at me. It would drive me crazy. Which brings us to number three. Apologizing for other people's bad behavior. Agreeing to take the blame to stop an argument or a disagreement. Which enabled the bad behavior to continue. So what would often happen was, at some point, somebody in my life who was most likely a narcissist, if not, they were toxic AF, was being toxic, and I slipped and stood up for myself, which, as you know, with narcissists and toxic personalities, that is just not allowed. And I would, maybe speak up for myself or tell them that made me feel uncomfortable, which of course would make them angry. And me being codependent, I couldn't stand anybody being mad at me. Is this making you confused? Just imagine how this is like to live with this on a daily basis. Apologizing for other people's bad behavior. So in a sense, taking the blame for their behavior. Okay, I'll take the blame, just please stop being mad at me. I just want this argument to end. Just please stop being blamed with me. Okay, I'll be the bad guy. I'll agree, I'll be the bad guy. I'll be the bad guy. Just stop, please just stop being mad at me. Just stop this argument. I'll be the bad guy. I'll take the blame. Everything's off your shoulders. Everything's off your shoulders, or I'll take it. So that would lead to feelings of disgust with myself. That would lead to feeling powerless. Feeling like my power had been taken away, because I basically, not taken away, I gave it away. There goes the dog. Number 4. Here's a biggie. Saying yes when I really wanted to say no. Saying yes when I really wanted to say no. Yes, that includes sex. But that also includes other things such as instances where I had made plans to maybe hang out with a couple of friends of mine, or maybe just go shopping or whatever, just to have, a family member or a friend call up and say, hey, I'm going away for the day. Can you come over and spend the day with my dog, because the dog's old and needs to be fed and needs to be walked. And, yeah, can you do that? And I would say yes. And I would give up the plans that I had made, because if I say no, well, that might mean that they would have to cancel their trip, because chances are that they never even bothered to ask anybody else because they knew that I would say yes. That might mean that they would have to cancel the trip, and then because they had to cancel their trip, they would be mad at me because I couldn't go over and look after their dogs, and it's just better to cancel my plans and do without. I'm not making this up. I am not making this up. This stuff is real. This is what goes on in the mind of a codependent. It is messed up. Number 5, I think I actually I think I talked about this. Number 5, feeling disgusted with myself. Yeah, feeling disgusted with myself because I wouldn't say how I felt. I wouldn't talk about, somebody treating me like dirt, and I would just sit there and take it. Because I can't have them mad at me. I can't rock the boat. I can't say how I feel. I can't say how I feel. Because that would make the other person mad at me, and we can't do that. So I'll just not say anything. I'll take the blame. I will, whatever. Which would lead to feelings of disgust with myself. Feeling angry with myself. Feeling, I would, I would just sit there and beat myself up in my own mind. And I'd be angry with the other person as well, but in my mind, I would just replay this. And in the whole time, I am just scolding myself for being a freaking coward. For not speaking up when I should have. When I know that I should have, but I just couldn't do it. Because I knew what it would lead to. I knew that it would lead to them being angry, me being upset, and then all of a sudden walking on eggshells, which would usually come to that. Number 6, and I actually just touched on this. Blaming myself. Blaming myself for somebody else's bad behavior. Or if, okay, let's put this into an example. This is just an example here. Say somebody else in the house knocked over, I don't know, a plant that was on the table. Something. Knocked over the plant that was on the table. Now there's dirt on the floor. They're mad. They're upset. And somehow, this is something that was pretty much, I had nothing to do with it. It was them that was being careless and knocked the plant off, but somehow I'm now sitting there and blaming myself because maybe at some point when I was in the other room, I should have moved that plant. I should have noticed that plant was in the way. I should have moved it out of the way so it wouldn't have been in that person's way and they wouldn't have knocked it over, so it's my fault. It's my fault. I'm not going to sit here and blame myself and beat myself up because they weren't watching where they were going and knocked the plant over. Disclaimer here, that is actually something that really did not happen. I'm just making it up, but it's scenarios like that. Number 7, triggered easily. And in big letters and capital letters, I have anger. Okay, let's talk about this. Because I didn't always have anger issues. I pretty much kept my emotions under tap until about 7 or 8 years ago. I started having these really bad anger issues. And the anger would stem from how I perceived somebody's response to me. So if somebody was talking down to me, or was treating me disrespectfully, all of a sudden that would trigger a response, which would be anger. And at first it would kind of start off, and it would escalate really quick. So it would go from being slightly annoyed, to mad, to now downright angry, and I'm now down here, annoyed, angry, here to here in a matter of like 30 seconds. And once I hit it up here, I couldn't stop it. And it would just keep escalating, 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 escalating. Which would usually lead to me having some sort of a panic attack. Me being extremely upset. Which would then fall back to me apologizing. Me blaming myself, me feeling disgusted, me telling myself that I'm an idiot. You know where I'm going with this? Yeah. And unfortunately, that would give me the title of being a bitch. An unstable bitch. Well, there goes Mandy again, being a bitch. Just being angry over nothing. The thing is that I wasn't getting angry over nothing. It may have been nothing to the other person, but perhaps that day they had a certain tone in their voice that just didn't sit well with me, and I would react to it instead of me saying, okay, what is it about the situation that has made me angry? I would just react to it and escalate from here to here in a matter of like 30 seconds. Things got ugly. Things got ugly real quick. That whole thing actually led to me being put on anxiety medication. I was actually diagnosed as having severe anxiety, which I'm not doubting. I'm pretty sure I did have really bad anxiety, which was probably years and years and years of me not being able to express myself emotionally. And everything just a few years ago started coming to a head, which as I look back now was probably a good thing, because then that led to me discovering the codependency in the first place. So, yeah. Alright, which number was that? That was number 7. So number 8. Not being able to express myself, expecting others, here's a biggie, expecting others to be mind readers, triggered to anger, shutting down emotionally. Okay, let's put this into a scenario. So, not being able to express myself, expecting others to be mind readers. Okay, let's put this into a scenario. Once again, not a real event. I'm just making this up. Okay, so back in the summer of 2018, August of 2018, I turned 40. And for my 40th birthday, I threw myself a big birthday party. I had a barbecue, bonfire, people came over, a bunch of people came over. It was great. I did this all myself. Now, let's put that into perspective of somebody who's severe severe codependent, who can't express themselves, who pretty much walks through their day thinking that if they want anything from anybody that they're selfish. So remember, everybody else comes first. So in the form of a codependent, I would be, okay, I'm turning 40 this year. I would really love for my friends to throw me a birthday party. And then the 40th birthday comes. People wish me happy birthday. My friends give me cards. But there's no birthday party. Now, if any of my friends are watching this, I'm not saying that you guys wouldn't have thrown me a birthday party. This is completely made up. This is a scenario, okay? Let's say, my birthday comes. There's no big party that in my head I would love to have for my 40th birthday. So what happens? Do I tell any of my friends that I would love to have a birthday party? No. Are my friends just supposed to know that that's what I want? No. They are not obligated to know. But what would happen then is that I don't get the birthday party that I would love for my friends to throw me. So now I start telling myself that, triggered to anger, shutting down emotionally. So now I'm angry because my friends should have just known to throw me a birthday party. And then I shut down emotionally. Meaning, my friends might call me up and talk to me, and I'll just be like, this stone cold bitch and not want to talk to them because they should have known better. God, didn't they pick up on the hints that I was throwing them? Hey, I'd love to have a birthday party. Like, hello? No, my friends are not obligated, first of all, to throw me a birthday party. But they're also not obligated to connect the dots, to figure out that when I'm throwing them a hint, or trying to throw in hints so that they're not obligated to know. If I wanted a birthday party, I should just come out and say, hey, I'd love for somebody to throw me a birthday party. Maybe we could get together and have a birthday party. I hope that makes sense. That's kind of how a codependent thinks. Like for me, I would throw hints. I wouldn't come right out and say what it is that I wanted, but instead I would throw hints. And then when people didn't connect the dots and figure out what the hints were, now I'm angry and I'm upset and nobody loves me and everybody just hates me and I should just stop depending on everybody because they should have picked up on my hints. Once again, guy, I am not making this up. This stuff is real. It's what goes on in the mind of a codependent. Number 9, not showing emotion, any kind of emotion. If someone did something nice for me, such as giving me a gift, I wouldn't know how to respond. I was better at responding to an act of hatred than an act of love. So, for example, okay, somebody, Mandy, I want you to have this pen. I bought you this pen. I saw this pen and I thought of you. I want you to have it. This is my gift for you, just for being an awesome person, because I like you a lot. Please take this pen. So then I would take the pen and be like, oh, thank you. That would pretty much be my response. So now the other person is like, you're welcome. But if it was the other way and the person was like, Mandy, you bug the heck out of me. I'm going to poke your eyes out with this pen. This pen is going to stab you in the throat. I'm going to poke your eyes out with it because you are a horrible, terrible person and I hate you and I want to stab you with this. That, I would have no problem whatsoever responding to that. I'd be like, yeah, bring it. Bring it. What the hell? You're you know what? Argument would pursue. I would have no problem whatsoever of responding to that. But for it to be a gift, an act of love, I couldn't respond to that. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know how to act. In my head, I'm appreciative of that gift that they've done, that they have given me, that they saw it, thought of me, and bought it for me. In my head, I'm like, oh my God, that is so nice. I can't believe that they did that for me. That is the best friend ever in my head. To express that, I didn't know how. But for them to express in the form of anger, as I just said, in my head, I'm just like, what the heck does this person think that they are? To be talking to me, yeah, bring it. I can take this. I can, be a match to you. When really oh, God, I don't know what else to say about that. Just, let's go to the last one, shall we? Number 10. Jumping to conclusions. I think I kind of hinted on that or touched on that a little bit in the last one and whatever it was. Jumping to conclusions. So the jumping to conclusions, which would then trigger a response of anger. So an example of this could be, I'm over at a friend's house and it's the end of the day, and I say to them, how was your day? Just simple question. And they answer me with their answer, but I tend to notice that there tends to be, maybe their tone is a little bit on the harsh side. Now, the harsh tone probably has nothing to do with me. It could be that they had a bit of a bad day at work. Maybe the boss was getting under their skin or on their case over whatever, and they answer me with, fine, whatever, or a harsh tone. As a codependent, instead of asking them to elaborate on the fine, sorry for scratching my nose, I don't know, I now start going through scenarios in my own head. Okay, I asked them how their day was. Their tone was very harsh with me. I must have done something wrong. What did I do? Did I ask the question in a wrong way? Should I maybe have asked it a different way? Why are you mad at me? Why are you mad at me? Then that now triggers an anger response. So then I might be like, so their response is like, fine. Then I might come back with like, oh, sorry I asked. So now my tone is not good, which is going to probably trigger a response in them, which would be an anger response. So now, like, I don't know, which leads to, like, you know, bickering back and forth, maybe an argument. Which then, of course, as you know, with the codependent, now leads to me taking the blame and blaming myself and feeling disgusted. I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have done that. Go home, cry, because now I'm disgusted with myself. When really what I should have done is just ask them to clarify their tone. And if I had done that as a codependent, or not as a codependent, if I had just asked them to clarify their tone, I could have like found out more that they just had a bad day at work and it had absolutely nothing to do with me. Unfortunately, codependents don't do that. Speaking for myself, as a codependent, in my own mind, it was always my fault. I was willing to accept the blame to just shut down an argument because I couldn't stand somebody being mad at me. I was willing to just give up on my own plans, give up on what made me happy, because what was more important to me was that somebody else was happy, and screw what I thought. I was willing to sacrifice my own life to ensure that somebody wasn't going to be mad at me. Now, when I say that, I mean like, you know, driving in bad weather, driving in like an ice storm to get over to, you know, to buy something for supper because somebody else in the house wants spaghetti for supper and we don't have any spaghetti in the house. But instead of waiting for the weather to pass, I'm willing to drive in that bad weather to get the spaghetti, because heaven forbid no spaghetti in the house might trigger other people to be mad at me. This is what living with codependency is like. Codependency is disgusting. Now, by saying that, I don't mean that people who are codependent. Let me say that again. I apologize. I'm not saying that people who are codependent. I'm going to do that whole thing over again because I just fucking went over it again. Codependency is disgusting. Now, by saying that, I am not in any way saying that people who are codependent are disgusting. I am saying the codependency is disgusting. And if it's allowed to fester, if it's allowed to take up your mind, it can kill you. It can affect your health. It can make you very sick. It can affect your heart. It's a very serious, real thing. Just like narcissistic personality disorder, codependency is a real thing. And trust me, I know that people who are codependent can be just as toxic as a narcissist. But the difference is that with a codependent, the reason why we have these toxic personality traits is because we're so trying to please other people that we feel that we go out of our way to please other people, and yet we don't get it in return. Which is the whole thing, because what do narcissists do? They take. Codependents give. Codependency is real, and it's a nightmare to live with. However, the good news about codependency is that it can be fixed. It can be fixed with therapy. If you can't afford a therapist, I highly recommend that you go onto the internet. Try and find what you can out there. There are also plenty of books. Oh yeah, the cat's in the room with me too. Her name's Gus. Her name is Gus. Yeah, don't ask. Anyhow, this is like a list of 10 things that I made up with, and I'm already like flustered. I could probably sit down and make a list of 100 things if I really wanted to. Codependency is real. It's devastating. It's disgusting. It leaves you feeling drained at the end of the day. It leaves you feeling disgusted. It leaves you feeling like you are not good enough. But thankfully, as I just mentioned before I was interrupted by the cat, it can be reversed. It can be reversed. You know why? Because unlike narcissists, codependents are able to introspect. We are able to look inside of ourselves and say, yeah, I do act like that. I do act like that. I do have that personality trait. And then you are actually willing to accept it and realize that you do that, and then do the necessary steps to change. Whereas with a narcissist, not only are they not going to admit that they have that personality trait, well, they might admit they have the personality trait, but it's not because of anything there. It can't be fixed because it's somebody else's fault. Narcissists blame everybody else for their problems. Codependents blame themselves for everybody else's problems. Anyhow, I am going to end this video. I hope that helps a little bit. Talking about, if any of that sounds familiar, I want you to know that, to all you codependents that are out there, this is what I want you to know. Please, 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 please understand. You are enough. And I'm puddling up here. You are enough. You're good enough. You don't have to accept second best to make somebody else happy. And codependency can be fixed. And I'm just going to end it with that before I start blabbering and bawling my eyes out. Okay? Peace, love, and love. Peace, love, and light, you guys. Have a great night. Be nice to each other. Be kind to each other. And have a good night. Have a good day. Have a good night wherever you are. Bye for now.